Hello, I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB, and welcome to Amateur Radio Roundtable. Today is Tuesday, March 31st, 2015. This webcast is every Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time or 0100 UTC on Wednesdays on W5KUB.com. I'd like to ask everyone to help us out here by spreading the word about the webcast. You know, we're pretty well known for our major events we do, but we're trying to build up a weekly program, so most people don't know about the program yet, and we need your help to build it up. Check into your nets and send out emails and post it on your Facebook groups. Let everybody know about it. Just a couple announcements for the show. I'm working with some hams that have many years of home brewing experience, and we're trying to put together a segment on home brewing. I've been a ham for 51 years, and we used to build all of our equipment, and I really love this. And you can build some really nice stuff pretty cheap. So we're hoping to have a segment at least every two weeks about home brewing. So that's coming. The Dayton Hamvention is going to be here in about 6 weeks. We're going to be up there again. This will be our 34th or 35th year. We lose count. We're going to be in booth SA302 in the Silver Arena. So be sure and come by and see us. If you can't make it to Hamvention, you can tune in and watch it live here on W5KUB. And we hope to make it a good experience for you. We typically give out about $10,000 in prizes to our viewers. Some very nice prizes. In fact, this just came in today. I want you to take a look at this. This is a Heil Pro 10 mic package. So this is one of the prizes that we'll be giving away on the show. We have a lot of nice prizes just like this. So this is something that you can win on a show. All you got to do is say, "I'm here" when we call your name. Bob Heil is a longtime supporter of our webcast. He's been with us ever since the beginning. Tonight we've got a great lineup, and each one of you can also join the live video webcast at the second part of the show if you have a camera and a Google Plus account. We'll be providing a link for you to click on that will allow you to come in a webcast. We can take up to 10 people at a time, and you can be on the show just like I'm on here. So get in there and join us tonight, and just say hello or stick around a while. So the lineup tonight includes Russ K5TUX. He's a podcaster. He's going to be discussing Linux and open source for ham radio. We've got Brian Shell, KD8OTD. He's an author of some amateur radio books, particularly D-Star and Echolink for our beginners. And then one of our regulars, we'll have Glen KW5GP, author of the book Arduino for ham radio, and he will be with us to show another Arduino project. So let's move on and go. Let's see. Let's go to Russ next, K5TUX. So let me see if I can pull Russ in here. Okay, Russ, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, well, I think everybody's hearing you. So, hey, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing just wonderful. How are you doing tonight, Tom?
Doing good. Let me just tell everybody, I ran across you recently, and I thought this would be a good topic for the show. But Russ is an active podcaster. He does the weekend edition of Strange Today, and he will soon be co-hosting a new podcast called Linux in the Ham Shack with WB5JBV, I believe. And you can tell us a little bit more about that. But I thought it would be good tonight to talk a little about Linux or open source in the Ham Shack. And you as a ham, what you can tell us, you know, how will that stuff work for us? So again, welcome, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Russ.
All right, well, let me start by saying that I didn't get to my QRZ page in time, apparently, because the information that you just read there is from a long time ago. That's okay. The show was actually started by myself and Richard KW5GP, and that was back in October of 2008. So we have been going for a while now. It is no longer a news show. We broadcast live every other Monday night, and it's only audio. This is not a video podcast like you do, just audio. We have been doing it for nigh on 7 years now, and what we started out doing was trying to make it easier for those folks out there who were interested in exploring something other than Windows, and give them a way to move into Linux and open source software for the ham shack. Now, we've broadened our scope a little bit so that we talk about using Linux for all things, not just in the ham shack, but it's still our primary focus. So that's what we try and do. We do it via the podcast. We also have a Google Plus community. We're on Facebook. And for the past 5 years, we've actually had a booth set up at the inside exhibits at Hamvention to spread the word there as well. So that's pretty much the basics of what we do.
Well, okay. Well, we hope to get to know you a little better, and I should have known that some of this information I give out was a little outdated. But you know what? We're going to get out to our viewers, your podcast, and maybe we can draw some of them in and start taking part in your podcast, and also hopefully you can have a segment on here occasionally, and we can bring some of your listeners over to our site. So hey, let's talk a little about let's just jump right into Linux and ham radio. How does that go together? I'm not a Linux person myself. A lot of people are. What can we do with Linux?
As far as I know, there isn't anything you can't do with Linux that you can do with Windows or Mac OS. Mac OS is still kind of a third runner, I guess you'd call it, in the ham radio world. There seems to be a split between Windows users and Linux users, but I haven't heard a lot of Mac users out there. But the reason we wanted to get people interested in Linux is because that's something I've been doing for 20 years now. I was into it real early, and there's a methodology and there's kind of a religion behind Linux, and I don't want to use that term, but there's a mentality behind it, as well as just being something different or something other than what's already out there. There's a reason there's something else. Windows has been around a very long time, and it's an operating system that has gotten better over time, but it does have some problems. Some of the problems people might be aware of are instability. I know most people have to reboot their machines at least once or twice a day. There are security concerns, viruses, adware. These are constant problems. I know lots of people are staying in business because they have all these computers that get brought in. They charge them $99 or $200 or something like that to wipe off all the adware and get their machines back running, the way they used to when they first got them. There's a price concern. Now, most people don't see this when they first get their machines because the price of the operating system is rolled in. But then there are upgrade costs. When Microsoft says we're not going to support XP anymore or Windows 7 anymore, then you have to go out and buy the latest one. And, of course, there is a cost associated with that. Now, open source and Linux software is called free software, but it's the other meaning of the word free. It's free as in libre, what they say, meaning it's open, it's clear, it's transparent, it's visible to the user. Now, Windows, on the other hand, is the opposite of that. It's not transparent at all. It's like looking into a black box. You can't see anything. You can't make changes. You can't. If something goes wrong, you don't know why. You have to call on somebody else for help. You can't make any of the changes yourself. So that's the mentality, the split between the two, and the reason why Linux and open source is out there. Now, that being said, what can you do with Linux? Well, you can do a lot with Linux, and I can go ahead and bring up my Linux desktop here just so we can show people what it looks like.
Sure, go right ahead.
All right, so hopefully you can see my screen there. And I think what people may notice first about this is that it looks a lot like Windows. There's one major difference that you might see in this particular instance, and that is that the taskbar, what people are used to seeing as the start menu or the taskbar, is at the top of the screen as opposed to the bottom of the screen. But if you can get past the way that looks, it's pretty much the same thing. Here in the upper left, you click on it, you have a drop-down menu. You access your applications this way. I think most people could wrap their head around this very easily if they were a Windows user. And the fact of the matter is, if I wanted this bar to be at the bottom, I could easily put it there. Windows will actually allow you to put the start menu at the top. Most people don't know you can do that, but you can. So one of the main concerns that people come to me with or to us at our show about Linux when they're first getting into it is, oh, I hear it's really hard to use and you have to know how to type. You have to be in a terminal and a command line all the time, and it's really scary and all of that kind of stuff. But it's actually the opposite of that now. Now, way back in the day, in the early 90s, absolutely I would agree with that 100%. But this is 2015. It's a whole different animal. And a lot of people are spending a lot of time making Linux function just like Windows so that the people who were scared of it in the past don't have to be scared of it anymore. And I've set Linux boxes down in front of people who have never seen it before or touched it before, and they can just jump right into it. Google is doing the same thing with the Chrome OS. They're trying to make it as straightforward, as logical, and as easy to use as possible, and that's what they're doing. Even the installation of these operating systems and software packages is really simple. Usually it's a couple of mouse clicks, 10-minute install, and you're done. Try and install Windows in 2 mouse clicks in 10 minutes. It's not going to happen, even if you've got a really fast machine. Which brings me to another great thing about Linux is you can use it on all kinds of older hardware. Because if you've got a computer that's sitting around in the closet that can't run Windows Vista because it doesn't have the resources, you put Linux on it, it will fly like an eagle. So this is the basic system right here. I don't know how well this is coming across to the viewers on YouTube or whatever, or on w5kub.com, but I've got a few applications here for ham radio specifically that I can show off. I've already started running them here, so we can take a look at some things that people might typically do with their ham radios. And ooh, what happened here? Well, technical difficulties.
We got you back again.
Oh, you got me back again. Well, no one wants to see me. Let me get that desktop back.
Yeah, there we go.
I know I clean up well, but we want people to see what the meat of this is here. All right. Sorry for that little problem there. Let me get back to this desktop here. All right, there we go. So let me start up an application here that a lot of people might use, and that is for digital modes. A lot of people are using PSK31 these days, or Hellschreiber, or any of the other things like that. There's an application here called FLDigi, and hopefully it will actually start up for me because I'm doing this via remote connection. So when I start that up, you can see it's got a signal browser on the right-hand side. You see your conversations going on here on 20 meters. You've got a waterfall down at the bottom. And this is pretty straightforward stuff. Now, one nice thing about this particular application is that it actually runs on Windows too. So if you want to start using some of these applications before you make the giant leap over to Linux, you can do that because some of these will run on everything. FLDigi is one of those. This has the ability to control your rig. We'll do PTT, call sign lookups, logging, the whole deal, all in one application. One application that most ham radio operators are familiar with is Ham Radio Deluxe. Now, Ham Radio Deluxe used to be free back in the day. It is not free anymore. So, you have to pay for that, and, that's fine. A lot of people like Ham Radio Deluxe, and it does a lot of stuff. There's no, one application fits all for Linux. It's all, specific applications that you put together into a suite of tools for your ham radio. But you can do everything with those tools that you can with Ham Radio Deluxe. And I know I'm running on, so if there's anything you want to talk about, you just jump right in.
No, you're doing a good job. Just keep going.
Well, I'm a podcaster, right? So
Yeah.
I'm good at talking. That's what we do. And I don't have the video to help me out, so I got to keep my lips moving when I'm on my own show. Okay, one of the new products that's come out for ham radio is Codec 2 and FreeDV. This is for digital voice over HF, well, over any band actually, but this is something that's written specifically open source and for Linux. So I haven't even checked into whether you can do this on Windows or not, but I can't actually show you this right now, but I can show you the application here. It's very simple. You have a start button. It would show you a waterfall. You'd see if there was a signal there, and then you have your PTT. And what it does is it compresses your voice into a digital signal going over the airwaves, over HF, and what you get is crystal clear audio back and forth over high frequency. No noise, no nothing.
So someone would need to be running the same thing at the other end, right, to communicate back and forth?
That's right, but this application is not only free as in Libre, in other words, it's open source and you can see how it was written, but it is also free. It doesn't cost you a dime.
So would this be similar to like D-Star on HF?
It is just like D-Star on HF, and you can actually use this on VHF and UHF as well. The mode is irrelevant, but it does provide a highly compressed open codec for, it's basically an alternative to the Ambi chip. For doing digital voice across a noisy medium. So that's a great technology that's just recently come out. And let's see what else we can show off here. Hopefully I can show off something else here. All right. We have, we have this. We have Qtel. Qtel is a Linux client for Echolink. This is actually written by a Swedish ham, SM0SVX, and it's a native application. It's only for Linux. Of course, there is a Windows client for Echolink. That's what Echolink was written for originally. But the Linux folks wanted something to be able to use on their Linux machines, and this is it. This is your Echolink client. And there's actually a server as well. So if you wanted to hook a repeater or a link node to your Raspberry Pi or your laptop or your desktop machine or whatever it is you've got running Linux at your house, that's also part of this toolkit, and you can connect to Echolink via that.
So let me jump back and just ask a question here. Was the previous thing you talked about, was that called FreeDV?
FreeDV, that's right.
Okay, I see in the chat room here, they're saying that it's about to become native in Flex Radio 6000 software. So it looks like they're going to maybe be using that in the Flex radios?
Well, I believe so, and I believe they'll be using it in everything pretty soon because the codec is open, and unlike proprietary codecs like the ones that are done for D-Star, which are written, owned, and licensed by ICOM, Codec 2 is freely available to anyone. So if ICOM and Yaesu and Kenwood and all those people want to take up that technology and grab the codec and embed it into a chip, they're free to do that. The nice thing about the way the open source works, though, is that if they decide to use it, they must keep it free. They cannot start charging for it, which is a wonderful thing. So fine, put it out there, let all the vendors take it, let everybody have access to the technology, but keep it free, keep it open.
Okay, great.
So let's see what else I can show off here on short thing. One that's always a big hit at Hamvention is this one here. This is called gPredict, and it's, as you can see, it's a satellite tracker. This one's written specifically for Linux. I do believe it will run on Windows as well. It allows you to pick any satellite that's out there in the sky, track it. It gives you gray line information, gives you polar coordinate view. It also contains ham radio and antenna rotator control, so it will actually track satellites while you're trying to make QSOs on them as they go overhead.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next questions. Will it control a radio, rotor control and Doppler shift and things like that if you're working satellite?
Yep, absolutely. It can do all of those things. There is a library written for Linux called the Ham Library. It's abbreviated Ham Lib. And most of the ham radio applications that are out there in the world link with this library. And what that library does is it contains a giant database of ham radios. So any application that uses HamLib can access the information and control PTT of any radio that's contained within its database. And of course, that database is open. So if there is a radio that's not in there that you need to put in there, you can either do it yourself or you can have one of the developers add it. And the list that's in there right now is enormous. I mean, everything from Alinco to the Chinese radios to Kenwoods to the big names to Tentex to you name it, it's all in there already.
All right, a lot of comments in the chat room. You about to convince me that maybe I need to dump all my Windows stuff and go Linux on all my computers here.
Well, we actually don't recommend that. We actually recommend a slow, steady migration because if you want people to be happy doing what they're doing, and we know that there are people out there who love Windows, that it fits their mindset and they wouldn't use anything else, and those people we're not interested in converting. It's not about, forcing our opinion on someone else. If you want to use Windows, if you want to use a Mac, absolutely fine. All we're doing is presenting another alternative, showing you what's possible with it, explaining the method to the madness of that, and the philosophy behind that alternative. And then if people decide that's a good thing for them and a good fit for them, then they can go out and do that. And the best thing about it is in 99.9% of the cases, there is no out-of-pocket expense for making that jump.
All right. Well, so far it's been real interesting, Russ.
Unfortunately, due to a technical snafu, I don't have access to the chat room, so I can't see if there's anything I need to be addressing in there. So if there are any comments that you can send my way, that'd be great.
Sure. There's been several in there. Do you know, let's see, there's someone logged in, Peripheral or something like that. Maybe that's someone that knows you. I don't know. But he's answering a lot of questions on there. I thought maybe he may have come over because you were going to be on here tonight. But a couple questions. He's already answered. Raspberry Pi, does it have enough beef to run Linux? I think the answer to that was yes.
The Raspberry Pi will more than adequately run Linux. In fact, people are using it for home media servers, for Echolink nodes, for IRLP nodes, and all kinds of different things. The earlier ones, the early Model A's and the early Model B's, were not as robust as they could be, but the Pi 2B has just come out, and it is much faster. It's got a quad-core processor, and it can run the blazes out of Linux. And right now they're selling for about $35 out the door, so you can't really beat that. There are lots of little single-board computers out there, though. There are the BeagleBones and lots more that I can't think of off the top of my head, but any one of those will run Linux. Back to me? Sure can.
Unless you have more to show there.
Oh, I could show forever and ever and ever. There's no limit to what I could show you, but I guess we'll let people look at my smiling face for a little while.
Yeah, you've got a nice smiley face there, and hey, this is really interesting. What I'd like to do is have you back on here, Russ, kind of regularly, and we talk about different aspects of this where you can get into it a little deeper.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, we've barely scratched the surface of this whole thing. I know this is the first time I've been here, and I just wanted to give as much of an overview as I could of what Linux is, why Linux is, and, a short, brief introduction to what people can do with it if they might be tempted to try something else just because they can. But there's so much to this. I mean, that's why we have a show and why we have 144 episodes out there, because there is never an end to the things you can talk about on this.
Yeah. Let's see. Ben, KK4EWT said hello to you.
Well, hello, Ben. I think it was KK4EWT. There are probably a lot more people in the chat room who know me than I know them. That's just kind of the way it is, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. Well, Russ, I think we will go ahead and ask if there's any last questions here in the chat room while we have your face on there. You've got a face for TV. People tell me I have a face for radio.
Oh, I've always been told I have a face for radio too.
Let's see if there's any questions real quick, guys. Send your questions in, and we'll shoot them to Russ real quick.
After I get off here, I'm going to try and get into the chat room during the rest of the show if I can. So if I can, I'll be there.
Yeah, VK6RO Down Under said excellent information on Linux ham programs. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and you're certainly welcome to come by and check out the show on our webpage, because just the show notes for our webpage is very informative, even if you don't have a chance to listen to the program itself or catch the live broadcast. We have lots of information about Linux and ham radio and the things you can do with it, and links to great resources all over the Internet.
Is there any good place to go to learn Linux commands? Well, I don't know.
Well, there are great places to learn Linux commands. Google is your friend when you want to find something about that. Just look for Linux tutorials or Linux command tutorials. You'll find more resources than you ever wanted to know. But the fact of the matter is, learning Linux commands is no longer necessary. That's the one thing that kept people away from it so long. It was kind of like the Morse code to ham radio was the command line to Linux, and both of those things have kind of gone by the wayside.
Yeah, another question is, will it work on an IBM AT? I guess we're going way back, but I think the answer is yes, right? Doesn't use much resources.
It doesn't use much resources. It depends on the distribution, and it also depends on your chipset. Linux will only run as far back as a 386. If you have something older than a 386, like a 286 or an x86, there are versions of Linux called Minix, M-I-N-I-X, which will run on those. They will run as far back as that.
Okay, they would like to have information again on your podcast. Tell us about it so they can tune in.
Okay, the podcast is every other Monday night. That's when we broadcast it live. It gets released on the following Monday, so it's live, then released every Monday. And you can find everything you ever wanted to know about the show, including our live broadcast schedule, download links. We even have torrents of all of the past episodes and stuff like that. Everything is on the website. That's the place I would go, and that is at LHS Podcast. That's Lima Hotel Sierra Podcast.info. And that's the place to get all the information you ever want to know.
Well, okay, Russ, thank you very much for being on here tonight with us and sharing Linux. And I think you've just about talked me into starting to play with it a little bit, you know?
I hope you take a look. It will make me very happy if you at least just take a look. It doesn't matter if you go with it. You know, you can come back. You can run back home if you have to. But if you at least try it, I'll be a very happy person.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we will go ahead and continue with the show. We've got another segment coming up in just a moment. Thanks.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Let's see. We're going to now, let me take the lower thirds off here. And we're going to go to our next segment here. Next we have Brian Shell. Brian's call is KD8OTD. He's from Dayton, Ohio. Brian is an author and has written over 40 books, which include fiction, teaching and learning, and some ham radio books. Tonight we're going to talk to him about two of those books. He wrote D-Star for Beginners and Echolink for Beginners. So, Brian, you're on here. Tell us a little about why you wrote these books, and let's talk a little bit about them. So let me get you on here if I can find the right button. There you go, right there. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me on. Great to be here. Well, basically, I became a ham back in 2010. Just a little handheld HT radio, UHF, VHF. I was renting a place and couldn't put up an antenna. But I kind of got bored a little bit with the UHF, VHF, and the repeaters. Just not much going on in my area. Even though I'm in Dayton, Ohio, you'd think they'd be busy, but not so much. But I wanted to get out a little farther. And at one point, this friend brought over this radio. And it was just a little handheld radio, nothing special looking about it. And he turned it on, and the first thing I heard was this guy talking from Belgium. Like, how are you getting a call from Belgium on that little thing with that little tiny antenna? And he told me about D-Star. And basically with D-Star, you can talk to anyone, anywhere, with just a little handheld radio. It's very simple, very easy to get started, and basically you can talk to the world without getting on HF. Makes it a little bit simpler. But it's not really that simple. There's like 1 million websites to explain how to get your radios programmed for D-Star. And a couple years ago, it was very difficult. You had to use fairly complicated programming software. Programming stuff in on the keyboard was always a challenge with those little 9-key keypads. And I thought it would be very helpful to write a book on how to program your radio, how to get started on D-Star, what is D-Star, things to do with D-Star. And that was great, and that went over pretty well, so I decided to do the same thing with Echolink. Echolink is much more based on the computer side of things, but it's a similar kind of thing. You can talk anywhere in the world over your headset, basically. Some of it interfaces with radio. Echolink hasn't been updated a whole lot lately, where D-Star is still ongoing. New radios are being made with it all the time. It's much like your previous guest was talking about with the DV. Digital voice is getting very big. D-Star had it first. D-Star is a little more established. But there are some drawbacks with D-Star. Some people say it's very proprietary. As he mentioned, it's strictly ICOM. There are ways around that with DV dongles and things like that. But everything, much like computers, are going all digital. Analog radio with the static, the hissing, and trying really hard to hear what other people are saying isn't necessarily the way it works with D-Star.
Well, we've got a wide range of people in here tonight. We've got people that have been hams for many, many years, and we've got new hams in here. And we've got some shortwave listeners in here tonight that came back again. And, this is really exciting, I think, for these new hams. They want to be able to talk to people far away. And, usually you get that tech license and you can only talk on a repeater maybe locally. But then they discover this thing called D-Star or Echolink. And, man, they think, wow, this is great. One of the greatest inventions there is out there. So
it's all you need if you really just want to talk to people far away. With HF, you need giant dipole antennas or some sort of J-pole or some kind of huge antenna outside usually to get any real distance. You can always do QRP, but there's a lot of drawbacks with QRP as well. With D-Star, though, you really don't need those big antennas. If you live in an apartment out in the middle of nowhere, as long as you're near a D-Star compatible repeater, you can do D-Star. And there are accessories, things you can buy, the DVAP, for example, that will allow you to do D-Star even if you don't have a local repeater around.
So this DVAP thing that you're talking about here, it's like setting up a little mini D-Star repeater at your house and connecting it to the internet, right? Exactly.
The easiest way to go is if you have a regular handheld radio. This one is the ICOM IC92AD. It's been out a couple years. Actually, I think it's discontinued as of recently. But it'll do D-Star. It's all you need. It'll also do VHF, UHF. They have newer radios that do the same things. And that's really easy. If you have a repeater locally, and being in Dayton, Ohio, I've got 3 that I can use. So maybe I'm a little luckier than most. Most cities have probably 1 D-Star repeater, the bigger cities. If you're off in the country in the rural areas, you may not have any. You probably don't have any. There aren't that many of them out there. And if you don't have a repeater, then this is not going to do you any good by yourself. Just a handheld radio, it's great for UHF, VHF, but if you don't have a D-Star repeater around, it won't work. But company has come up with these little devices. This one here is called the DV dongle. And what it'll do, plugs into your computer, either the PC, the Mac.
Hold it up just a little bit higher.
Okay.
We're cutting off some of the picture. Yeah, there we go.
There's not much to see there. It's just a little USB cable wire and this little blue box on the end.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. It weighs like nothing. It's cigarette lighter sized. But this plugs into your computer, whether it's a PC, Mac, or Linux. It works on pretty much everything with the software you download. And this alone, hook it in with the headphone. Actually, this headphone I'm wearing right here is what I use with this thing. So all you need is a computer, headphone, microphone, and this DV dongle, and you can get on D-Star. You can talk to anybody anywhere in the world that has D-Star, whether it's one of these or a radio or any other way of doing it. And with this, you don't even need to have a radio. So if you're not sure you're really going to like D-Star, or if you know you have no way of accessing D-Star through a repeater, this is the way to go. All you need is your computer. Now, the DVAP looks almost identical to this, except it has a little antenna on it. I don't have one of those to show you right now, but it's basically the same thing. But what it does, it plugs into your computer, and you use your handheld radio. You talk on your radio, which sends a very weak signal to the DVAP. DVAP takes that signal, runs it through the internet. It's like having your own miniature little D-Star repeater. Makes it very simple to get out if you don't have a repeater locally. This thing, the red version, the DVAP, is essentially a little pocket-sized D-Star repeater. No D-Star in your area? Not a problem.
Okay, so that's the DVAP. Now, so it looks very similar to the DV dongle. You showed the DV dongle a minute ago. So
yeah, this one's the dongle. It's just a little blue box. The DVAP, same thing. Looks identical, except it's red with a little antenna on the back.
Okay, there's a question for you. Please talk about the registration to log in and authorize into the D-Star system.
Okay, everything is done through the internet. All the digital voice stuff that you're talking through on the radio or the DVAP or the dongle or whatever you're doing goes through the internet. So each of the D-Star repeaters is connected to a gateway, and you have to be registered with your call sign on the gateway in order to get on the network. What you do, you pick out the gateway in your local area. I think at the time when I got mine, I was in Cincinnati. It was K8BIG, K8 Big. Go to their website, choose registration, and sign up. You give them your call sign and your name, basically some of the basic information that's on your ham license, and the person who controls that repeater will feed your call sign into the system, and that's pretty much it. It takes a few days to register in some cases, depending on how with it the system administrator is. But yeah, you do register ahead of time, and then you can go anywhere in the network. Like I said, I registered originally in Cincinnati. I live in Dayton. Works fine. Once in a while I make a trip to Michigan. I just hook into one of the repeaters up there, and it knows who I am, because the network, the call sign propagates through their network, and they know who I am, and I'm allowed on anywhere. Overseas would work the same way. Once you register with one repeater, every other repeater will know who you are and let you in.
Yeah, well, you know what, I took a DV dongle with us out to California on a recent webcast out there, and it's so simple. They're in a hotel room at night. We just plug it into the laptop, and we have access to the local repeater back home. We have access to all the guys there out in LA that we wanted to talk to, and it's just so easy to use. And in fact, the DV dongle is so much easier to use than the radio itself, I believe.
It is. It's a much easier way to get going. Basically, if your computer can run Skype, you can run the DV dongle. That's all the hardware you would need. Got the way of getting the audio in and out of the computer, and a USB port for the dongle. It's all you need.
And you know, update. And I was going to say also, it sends out digital data burst. You don't even have to say who you are. You just key the microphone, and it goes across the screen at the other end. It says, this is Tom, W5KUB in Collierville, Tennessee.
Yep, you do. It sends out your call sign and any little message you want to attach to it. If you go to dstarusers.org, they've got a function on there where you can see everybody who's on D-Star right now. You got your microphone or your HT in your hand. You click it. You can see your call sign appear on that list within a few seconds. So you can see everybody who's actively on and using it right now, which also lets you see sometimes busy spots if certain reflectors are busier than others. Makes it very nice.
Okay, well, look, hey, that's a real good overview already on D-Star. Now, Echolink was around before D-Star, and it's kind of similar, but it has a lot of differences, too. It is across the Internet. What can you tell us about Echolink?
Well, it is, like you said, older. Actually, I think I tried Echolink before D-Star. It's a way to get on and do digital voice without any investment, really. Whether you're running a PC or I think Linux can do it. Mac does not have a version of Echolink, or they used to, and it's not really supported anymore. But iPhone and iPad have a very nice Echolink app. Anymore, when I want to do it on Echolink, I usually just pop it up on my iPad and see what's going on there. But it's a very similar type environment. You can contact individual users, one call sign to another. You can talk on, well, on D-Star they call them reflectors. They're like little conference rooms or chat rooms where you can talk to a group of people. Echolink has exactly the same thing. They call them conferences over there. But it's basically group chats. And you can also, of course, talk to other faraway repeaters. If I want to talk through a repeater in London, well, I just connect to that repeater and start talking away, and hopefully some British person will answer me back.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the DV dongle. It's menu, or I guess menu driven. You see the listing of the location you want to talk to, the repeater name. You click on it, and it connects you there. The thing about the Echolink, of course, like you said, it's much older. But the thing is, you don't have to buy anything. It's free software. You don't have to buy a dongle. You don't have to buy anything. You could get on tomorrow.
Yeah, you still have to register on it the same way you do with D-Star. The process is very similar. I think echolink.org, I believe, and sign up that way. It still may take you a day or two to get registered with that, but then, yeah, it's totally free. You just download the software for your computer, your tablet or phone or whatever it is, and go from there. It costs absolutely nothing to try it. It is older. It's more established, but it seems like it may have become less busy in the last few years. Between D-Star and DMR and other digital voice options, it seems like it's falling by the wayside a little bit. But it is still around, and you can't beat free.
Yeah, you can't beat it. And our shortwave listener on here, he's talking about how interesting this is. This is the kind of things that really get you interested in ham radio, and it's things that you can do. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And there's so many different things in ham radio that you can do that it just makes the hobby exciting.
Yeah, if you've got an iPad or an iPhone, or I believe it's out there for Android, although I don't have one of those, you can download and install the Echolink and just listen. If you're a shortwave listener, you generally monitor and listen to these other stations anyway. This lets you get into other repeaters in other countries. If you want to listen on a repeater in Switzerland, you connect and you listen. Maybe nobody's on there right now. Maybe you'll hear a conversation going on. It's just like linking into a repeater far away. It's like HF without the static.
Well, you know, you mentioned a tablet, but you know, and I didn't think about it, but sure. I mean, even the Android phones and your smartphones nowadays, you can run Echolink on your smartphone.
Yep, absolutely. Carry it with you. Listen to Echolink in your car as you're driving around.
Yeah,
of course, you can talk on these also. You can talk on these also. You don't have to just listen.
Right.
It seems a little weird picking up your iPhone, talking into it like this, but you can do that.
Well, there's a question. How much does a DV dongle cost? Last time I bought one, I think I bought mine on eBay, and I paid, I don't know, 100 and something. What do you know about the approximate cost?
They generally, when they first came out, they were around $199. Today, I think they're around $199.
Yeah,
so they have not really come down unless you find one used.
And I think I bought mine on eBay for about $150, I believe.
That's about standard for used, yeah.
And again, your Echolink is free. If you just want to get in and try a digital mode out like that, you can talk to a lot of places on Echolink too. Yeah,
the DV dongle's around $200. The DVAP, the little miniature repeater one, is around $250, I believe. And the cheapest little handheld radio you can get that does D-Star is somewhere in the low 300s, one of the newer ones. Now,
I think there's some competition coming out now for the DV dongle. I think I saw recently where some other company is starting to make a device that is comparable to the DV dongle.
Yeah, it's... I'm going from memory, Northwind or something like that. It's a little red, looks like a memory stick, very small, and it's something like $119. So it's a
Yeah,
much
it's
less
cheaper.
expensive version. The software is not as established. The software is not as developed yet, but hardware-wise, it's technically about the same kind of thing. At $70 less, $80 less, maybe it's worth trying. I have not used one yet, but they are out there, and they're becoming a lot more popular, especially with the Raspberry Pi crowd. Plug one of those into a Raspberry Pi. Don't even need to use your computer with it.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, this has been very, very interesting already. It's stirred up a lot of comments in our chat room. So let's just jump real quick to what got you started writing books.
Well, I've wanted to write books forever, and I've got a degree in English, so it seemed like the thing to do. I've got a few fiction books out there. Jess and the Monsters, if you're into fantasy fiction. Or Echo Link for beginners. D-Star for beginner. I'm thinking about putting one together before too long for Chirp, the programming software that works on most radios. Not quite there yet, but it may be coming. But, yeah, I've just been a writer forever, had quite a few stories out there. Horror, fantasy, got a few religious-type books out there as well. Just a lot of books out there. BrianShell.com. There's my promotional plug.
All right, very good. Well, hey, Brian, it's been very interesting tonight talking about this. We'll have you back on the show here down the road a little ways, and we'll talk more about maybe your new book you're going to write about Chirp there. And you've really stirred up a lot of people thinking about D-Star and Echo Link. So I think you did good tonight. And if anybody wants to, they can find your book. Where can they find your book?
Amazon.com has all of them. D-Star for beginners, Echo Link for beginners. Brian Shell or BrianShell.com. Either way will work. All right.
Well, that is great. And again, Brian, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. And,
thank you very much for having me.
We'll have you back. We really enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and best regards to you. All right, that was Brian Shell, and author of a great book, or two, or three, or more even. I'm trying to get all queued up here for our next guest. Let me see if I can find Glen Popel. And we'll get him on here in just a moment. Oh, yeah, I think we're going to have a problem with Glen. Oh, he came online, I tell you. So let's see if we can get Glen on. Oh, Glen, are you there? Okay, we've got a slight technical problem on the connection, but it's saying hold on while they try to fix it. Well, we're having trouble connecting with Glen. We'll give it just a moment there, see if things clear up. So we'll connect back with Glen in just a couple minutes here. And I'll make a couple announcements here real quick. Guys, we'd like everyone to join our Facebook group. There's a button right below the chat room. If you can click on that button, it says Join Facebook. The Facebook group gives you a lot of information. It's a ham radio hangout. You can post pictures on there. We talk about just about everything, but there's also a lot of good information in there about our webcast and future webcast. Let's see, Tom, what's the camera choice for Skype? You know, I use any camera. Just about any little webcam works fine for Skype. Usually even the internal camera inside a laptop works. And let's see, I think I'm getting a call. Let's see if it's Glen. All right, Glen, are you there? Same problem, Glen, same problem. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to restart my connection here and see if that fixes things. It may be on my end. Oh, well. All right, I'm going to restart my Skype. Okay, Skype was wanting me to rate that last call. 5 stars down to 1 star. I guess I'll have to give them a 1 star on that one. All right, let's try it again here. Yes. Okay, yeah, y'all play the game Name the Meters if you want to. We're going to have to find a filler for the show, guys, if I can't get Glenn on here. Well, it's hard to say where the problem may be here with Glenn. So, Glenn, I think we're going to have to call this session tonight a bust. Maybe you can try to call me back, and I'll answer. We'll try it one more time, Glenn. So, yeah, hello. Yeah, that's me sitting at the desk. Hi, guys. Thumbs up, except for Skype, you know. Okay, we're playing name that meter. Okay. Someone says it's a Simpson meter. Let's see. I'm going to answer again. Are you there, Glenn? Glenn? All right, your mic's not working now. Okay, they're naming the meters on the thing. Okay, somebody said a Simpson. Okay, that's correct. That is a Simpson 260 right here. That is a workhorse meter. Man, when I was 16 years old, I was using that in my uncle's TV shop right there. That's a great meter right there. A bird watt meter. Bird watt meter. You are correct. We've got a bird watt meter here. A bird watt meter here. No. And here we got another bird watt meter down here. So we got two of those. Can anybody else name anything? A what? Man, I have no idea what a URM25 is. Is that the piece of old stuff? I don't know. I got some generators there. Series 1. Well, it's a model 260. It's a Simpson 260. That's what it is. Still no audio from you, Glenn. We're gonna have to use sign language. Can you see me? Let me put you on here, Glenn. There you're on, Glenn. Let's do this, Glenn. Let's just do the rest of the show in sign language, okay? All right, you got that? Okay. Well, you know, I don't know what to tell you, Glenn. I think I'm okay on my end, but who knows? We'll try to connect one more time if you want to, and we'll see if that fixes it. And if it doesn't, then we'll just do a segment with you next week. So why don't you hang up and call me back? And let's see, MFJ antenna tuner. Yeah, here's an MFJ 269, and here's one of the older MFJ 259s. And then I love this meter here. I love this one. This is the Comet. This is the Comet antenna analyzer here. This thing is just really, really solid. I like it. And I wasn't going to get up out of my chair tonight. My shirt's not tucked in. Okay. Oh, let's see. Let's just look at the thing. Use a flashlight for Morse code. Yep. A Syncor multimeter. Yep, that's a Syncor. I think that's a Syncor. Maybe not. I don't know. Syncor. I don't know which one's a Syncor. I'll say that's a B&K. What is it? It
says 4 left RH end on top shelf.
4 in from the right hand.
Left. It's on the left of RH.
RH is right hand.
Oh.
Right. RH is right hand. Okay. What are we talking about? Tell me again, Kathy. Where are we talking?
4 left of right hand end on top shelf.
Right hand Lynn. 4 left. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. I'm hearing you guys got me confused. Okay. 3 a.m. Wow, N5ASH 3 a.m. there. I think he is out in the Pacific somewhere. I forget. All right, we're going to try Glenn one more time, and if not, we will call it quits. Okay. All right, guys. Well, Glenn was going to have us something about some Arduino projects tonight, but it didn't work out tonight, so that's okay. You know, Glenn lives down in Mississippi. Sometimes our internet doesn't work down there, so we'll try to get him back in here next week. So let us see what we're going to do next here. I think we're coming close to the end of the show, and let me look up here on my teleprompter, see what else is going on. Okay, I need to send out the Hangout link again. Guys, if you want to join us in the Hangout, this is the part of the roundtable that comes next. If you've got a camera and if you've got a Google Plus account, you can join us and come on the show with us. Your video will be on the show with us. So if you click on that link right there, you can join. And Glenn's calling me one more time. Hey, Glenn.
Yeah, I think we got it this time.
Oh, man, look at there. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Now the fun part. Apparently my other PC had an issue and it wouldn't answer the Skype, and this one, we won't talk about it. Let's just say that this one had JT65 connected and running, and I had to unplug it.
Ah, okay.
So let's see what I can get here. Okay. A little bit late, but let's get rolling.
Yeah, I'm hearing other noises. I'm hearing a computer talking in the other room right now, so I'm not sure what came on.
Yeah, that's not me. It's dead quiet over here.
Yeah. But you're doing good. What do you got for us tonight, Glenn?
Okay. What I'm trying to do here, this is the fun part now, we're going to show off the 40-meter QRP transceiver tonight.
Oh man, hey, this is the one. This is the one I wanted to see here, man. This is the transceiver.
Right.
And this is a cool project, man. So let's just jump right into it.
All right, let me get some pictures up here. I had them all set up on the other one, but you know what the heck, we'll roll with it. What a where'd it go? There we go. All right, now we got to share this screen. I love Windows 8. I love Windows 8. I love Windows 8. Where's my links?
I'm afraid to try it.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I had them all set up on the other computer. And, of course, it went away. All right.
Well,
are you seeing my screen right now?
I'm seeing you.
You're seeing me.
Yeah.
Right.
What we may need to do is just probably try it next week. Now I'm seeing a small picture of you.
All right. Well, that's... Oh, here we go. All right. Let's do this.
Okay. Let me get me off here.
I think we got it here.
Wait a minute. Okay, we're starting to see things now. You're making some progress.
Yes.
So tell us what that is.
This is that little Frog Sounds QRP transceiver that we were talking about.
Yeah. And
this is a little $17 kit, and it's rock bound on 7.023. And what we have to do is modify that to, and I guess, are you seeing the block diagram now?
We are.
Okay. We have to modify this so that it can tune the whole 40-meter band. So what we do is we take an Uno and build a little prototyping shield. We're going to give it tuning and a dual rate tuning step. It's going to have a built-in keyer, a dual range RIT, and adjustable keyer speed. And the Arduino is going to drive a Nokia display. And we're going to use one of the cheap AD9850 DDSs, and this is connected to the board. It's a very easy connection. It's like two trace cuts, and you can patch it in. And get back to the pictures here, and show you the, here's what the display actually looks like. That's a little Nokia display, and of course it shows my transmit and receive frequency. With the rotary encoder that we use, we can step it fast or slow. And of course our CW speed, we put the battery voltage in there as well. And let's see what else we got here. We got the schematic also we can show here in a minute. But when it was all finished and packaged up, this is what we've got. And you got the little board over on the left side and the Arduino on the right side. And this is basically a $50 QRP transceiver that is built with those little Japanese boards you get off of or Chinese boards you get off of eBay. And let's see here. We got to get to this. I can't let you see that other directory.
Why, is there some top secret stuff in there?
Yeah. That's the new project.
All right. Well, you're going to slip. We'll see it.
Yeah, you think. Okay, this is the actual fritzing diagram for building the radio. You can see it's really not all that complex. The key is in the code. And what's really cool is I used M0 XPD's DDS library. So this thing virtually wrote itself. And it's very quick and very easy. I think, I built the Chinese board in a weekend and the rest of it in about another 2 or 3 days, and had it fully running in less than a week. And
well, what kind of display is that? A Nokia 5110 or?
Yeah, that is the Nokia 5110 display.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we have to do, this is the mod that we do to the receiver. We pull the crystal, and this little circuit replaces the crystal receive filter. And now this will allow us to tune the whole 40-meter band. And that will all mount on that little Chinese board after you pull the crystal out.
So you build up a little Arduino DDS BFO, and you pipe it in right there where the crystal was.
Correct.
And you got coverage. You got coverage of the entire band now, right? Offsets and everything.
Yeah, the whole 40-meter band. And here's the actual schematic for it. And you can see the DDS there in the center. We have a little buffer amplifier that we built with 2 transistors, and that feeds into the DDS. And basically, it's 2 trace cuts and removing a capacitor or 2, and you literally just patch it right into that frog board. And oops, that's the wrong screen. If you notice the name of that, that says JT65.
Okay.
We actually have this same little guy running JT65. But here is the actual CW version.
Now, I tell you, it's not much to it. It's mostly just some wires. It's just not much to build this thing.
No, the DDS is stacked on a little shield. The buffer amplifier is on the shield. All of the external components pretty much fit on the shield, and I use the little header connectors to connect everything in. I've got a little optocoupler that is patched into the key line on the rig. So we can use the built-in, I use, Stephen Elliott's, I think it's K1EL, his keyer code. And that is literally the whole thing. It's a weekend build. And it is currently out getting a nice, pretty laser-cut case. Let's see what else I got with it. See, that's okay. I don't mind y'all reading that stuff. That's already known.
So they're asking what software do you use to build the schematics in our flow charts?
Well, these drawings here that are called fritzing drawings, the ones that do the color, style, pictorial view, that is called fritzing, and that is a free open source product. And it's real handy. If there's a component you need to build that it doesn't have, you can easily add it. Like I added in the 9850 DDS and a couple other things to roll into it. For the schematics, I use the light or the free version of the Eagle CAD software. This will allow you to draw schematics, and you're limited on the free version to a 2-layer board, and I think it's 4 inches by 4 inches, and you can actually print the Gerber files to have that board etched and everything if you want to go that far. I just use it for the schematics themselves, and I just export them into a PNG file for putting up on web pages or stuff of that nature. And that's pretty much the entire transceiver. There just is not much to it. And you don't need to see that screen. But those of you that saw that, now you know where we're going next. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, talking about how do we build these shields. These are little $4 or $5 shield that I get off eBay, and you can put the headers on them, and these plug into the Uno, and then I use little 30 gauge wire wrap wire to make all of my connections. This is the waveform generator that was in the book. And let's see what we have. Oh, that's just another picture of the same thing. So that's pretty much the whole QRP rig.
Well, I like it. I can't wait to get started on mine. I've got the makings here. Let's see if we get the right camera on. I've got the makings here. I've got me the little CW transceiver right here. All I need is to get busy and try to do some of the things you've done there. Of course, I'm waiting on you to work out all the bugs.
Well, this one's pretty much been worked out. It's ready to go. It's planned as a project for a potential second book next year. And here it is, March, and I'm already talking about things next year. That's because there's something in between that I'm not quite ready to let the world know about. But there is another book in the works, and it is not Arduino related, which is why you don't get to see the other side of my lab, because it is totally destroyed at the moment. And we are getting ready for Dayton at the same time. I'm going to be doing a Arduino presentation with the QRP Archie gang at their 4 Days in May celebration.
Well, that's cool. We hope to see you up there. Be sure and stop by our booth there at SA302 in the Silver Arena and visit with us. Well, Glenn, thanks for showing that. And we're going to go ahead and go to the roundtable part of the show where we'll see if anybody wants to join us on Hangout here and get on the webcast. So I appreciate it again tonight. You're a regular on the show. Thank you very much for all the things you do.
I enjoy it, and I'll go reboot the other machine, and I'll jump into the Hangout once it gets its act back together.
Okay. I'll try to send the link out in the chat room again. You may not have the link.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll probably have to log back in the chat room, but I'll send it out occasionally. Okay.
Okay. Good deal. Thanks.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you. Good night. Okay. That was Glen Popel. Glen is the author, of course, of the ARL book, Arduino for Ham Radio. That was one that the ARL just published back a few months ago. So it's time now for Hangout, guys. Now, what Hangout is we're gonna let anybody and everybody on the show tonight. If you've got a camera, you can join us on the show. And all you got to do is click on a link, and you'll be in there with us. Let me pull it up. see if I can get in here. We can only have 10 people at a time, so if you can't get in, try it a little later. All I got to do is find my link. I think. Okay, I think I got you guys on now, so there we go. I need to set up another computer here, all set up and ready. So guys, you're looking at the round table. These are some of the guys that were on the show tonight. You can get in here and join us. If you will look at, let's see. Okay. If you'll see across the bottom down here, bottom of the screen, you'll see the people that are in here with us. There's me right there, and there's Russ, who presented earlier today. There's Glenn in there. If you just mute your mic there, we'll see if it's coming from you. Hey, there's old Gary. Gary popped in here. Gary, did you watch the show tonight?
Now Gary's the one with the mic problem.
He had his mic muted. How you doing tonight?
Great show tonight.
Yeah, all right. I'm trying to get the mic levels all together. Everybody's a little different. Some people are hot, some people are cold. So anyway, hey now Gary, where are you? You're in Virginia or somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool. So you got to watch the show tonight. I don't ever get to see the show. I'm always busy. The only time I'll get to see it is maybe tomorrow or maybe later tonight. So, well, we got 3 or 4 on here. Come on, guys. Do you want to be on the show? Click on that link. Let me give that link out again for you to click on to join us.
Hey, Russ, I want to let you know that I listened to about, 15, 20 or so of your podcasts on the way to Dayton last year. They were pretty fun on the trip, but they also make an excellent sleep aid too.
You're not saying he put you to sleep, are you?
Not while I was driving, no. But they were good to listen to on the way to Dayton.
All right.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed them, and they didn't put you to sleep. It's always good when the podcast doesn't put you to sleep.
Not while I was driving.
So, hey, Russ, maybe you can answer this. There's people in here talking about, I use mint cinnamon, gnome 3, hey, what's all this stuff, jelly bean, and, why are the developers naming all this stuff names like that?
I can't speak to why Google names anything, but usually what they do is they pick a theme and then they run with that theme. Now, Android has always been given the name of some sort of junk food, if I remember right. Jelly bean and Kit Kat and Lollipop and all the things based on that. So usually it's just whatever tickles the fancy of the developer, they start with it and they run with it. Like Ubuntu, for example, which is a Linux distribution, they pick obscure wildlife to name their distributions after. So it's just whatever the developers get a crazy notion to name stuff. That's it.
Well, WB0EOD says he favored Mate desktop until GNOME became usable.
One of the things that didn't come up in our discussion tonight is that there are so many different desktop environments. The one that I was showing you is Mate or Mate, depending on who you are. You say it one way or the other. That's what I use often, but there are lots of them. There's GNOME, there's KDE, there's LXDE, there's WM, there's FVWM, there's Awesome, Rat Poison. There are so many of them, it's unbelievable. And they present the desktop to you in a different way, and some people prefer one over the other.
Yeah, okay. Hey, we got a new person in the in our roundtable tonight, Michael. Michael, your mic's muted, but how you doing, Michael? Where are you located? You know how to Michael, up at the top, click the little red microphone that will unmute you.
Okay.
There you go. You're on, Michael. Where are you from?
Titusville, Florida. You contacted me about a week ago. I'm the Go Kit person.
Oh, the Go Kit guy. Okay. That was a beautiful Go Kit that you put together, and I think you weren't even aware there's a Go Kit Facebook group. Man, there's guys out there building all kinds of Go Kits, man.
I wasn't, and I joined the group. I made a post, and I had almost 100 feedbacks that same day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, you had a beautiful kit there. I'm glad you were able to find a show tonight and get on here. You know, different nights we have different topics and things. Some of the things coming up, I think I've got the president of AMSAT going to be on here pretty soon. We've just got a lot of things planned here for the future, but we're always looking for new segments, and one was on Go Kits, man. So maybe you can do a Go Kit segment on here for us one night.
Yeah, you had asked that in your email, and I needed to load Skype. I haven't used it in a long time, and tonight was really my test night to watch your program and to try everything out. I've got a lot of members from our club. I've been emailing them screenshots, trying to educate them as things went along, as I was getting educated on exactly what to do. So yes, the Go Kit thing, I'm looking forward to that. I work for the state of Florida, the emergency response team, and also for the county that I live in. I'm on the response team. And for our hospital organization, that's really the purposes for the Go Kit. It is a D-Star system. My laptop is connected, and we go on site at disaster sites. And because of the version 4 system that I have now, I can stay out in the field indefinitely with the system running from solar recharge, DC recharge, built-in batteries, AC. So the kit will last longer than I will.
Well, so here's the deal, man. You start getting together some pictures, and well, you had a lot of pictures. When I saw your web page, you had everything very well documented, the inside, the outside.
That was my purpose. Yeah. That was my purpose. Was really I wanted to. I've been an amateur for about 40 years. And one of the things that I've always enjoyed is building things. So what I wanted to do was try to inspire others to build Go Kits as I was inspired to do it. So I have 4 versions of it. If you go to my website, www.emergencyradiogokit.com, it has all the pictures of all the versions I've ever built, and all of the details, and all of the which I consider important things, must-haves, and a lot of inexpensive things that can be used for the Go Kit.
Yeah.
It might not look like it, but there's a number of reuse parts that are in that. Everything from a cutting board from Walmart as the main plate on top, to the top of a old PC power supply with the fan and the power switch, you know, along with many other things. So what we'll do when we do this interview, I'm going to watch this a few more times to make sure I can do it right. When we do the interview, you'll be able to relate to my website, and you can put pictures up, and I'll just talk to the pictures.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll use your pictures and step through them, and you can talk about the different parts as you made it, and give a lot of people ideas about what they can do, because it was really an excellent Go Kit that you built there. And I'm so glad you joined us tonight. You know, our weekly program is not very well known. We're trying to get the word out. We had a pretty good attendance tonight, but you know, in our big events, it's not uncommon to have 1,000 people on here watching and in the chat room, and we're not anywhere near there on our weekly program yet. I think we're just into about our 8th weekly program today. So anything you can do to help us down there in Florida to spread the word would be greatly appreciated.
Well, there's a lot of people I know that will be interested. What my goal will be here short term is for the next couple of weeks to watch and monitor and learn and document so I can, in fact, present the information to a number of the clubs here in the area and tell them, because it's a little bit involved on how you become part of this. Not terribly involved, but you have to know what to do. Everything from signing up to, again, getting on this Hangout, Google Plus Hangout thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Once you've done it, it's not bad. So I'm going to watch and learn and try to present it to others. I'm part of, in the county, we have 11 clubs that we have a group called BEARS. It's Brevard County Emergency Radio Service. And what I'll do is I'll make a presentation to all of those 11 clubs about just what I've seen tonight. Now, will I be able to go back and replay tonight's episode?
Yeah, what we'll do after we finish here tonight, I will go back and hopefully have a good copy of this, and I'll do just some basic editing, and I'll post it. It'll be on our W5KUB channel on YouTube. You can find it under W5KUB, or if you're a member of our Facebook webcast group, there'll be a link there to click on to get it. Actually, from this site, W5KUB.com, if you remember when you first came in, it said archived or go live. If you click,
I was watching an archive of the 21st show.
If you click on archives, that should take you to the show, and we'll post the show as quickly as we can on there. So
what I'll do is I'll present it to the clubs that I'm going to present.
Yeah.
To.
The interesting thing about this hangout portion of the show is a very informal round. It's a round table. And we start talking about things on the show, and just about as much information gets passed during this roundtable part as it does during some of the presentations. And we got an Ivan in here. Let me see who Ivan is. Ivan, I know an Ivan. Who is this Ivan here? Ivan, unmute your mic at the top. Unmute. Ivan. I can barely hear you. You're very weak. Well, where are you located?
In Colorado.
Colorado, okay. Okay, well, you're not the Ivan I know. The Ivan I know, and it was on watching the show tonight, was down in Miami. So how's things out in Colorado tonight?
Doing quite well. Weather is nice. Can't complain. Got a picture of the Go Box here that I have built. It's a DMR rig with the Yaesu Fusion on top and the iCom 7000 on it at the bottom. It's not lit up. But,
yeah, your audio is a little low. I don't know if you can get closer to the mic. Maybe using a mic in the camera. I don't know. But so you're showing us a Go kit there, I guess, that you built.
That's correct. It's a mono turbo. It's a DMR VHF UHF, which acts as a crossband repeater, and then I'm playing with the Yaesu Fusion on top.
Okay, cool. Well, there's all kinds of ways to build these Go boxes, and a lot of people are interested in they're building them now. I've been a ham 51 years. I don't have a Go box. I guess if there's an emergency, I'll just grab a few things and head out the door.
Yeah, Tom, you got to see ours last field day.
I did. Yeah, I did. Day. Glen also has a nice Go box there, and Glen, what kind of case is that one built in?
Yeah, mine uses a musician's rack case. It's actually what they call an 8U equipment rack mounted into a hard shell plastic case, and it's got covers that just snap on. So you just close it all up or open it all up, and you're on the air within about 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yours is made for a rack. It's standard 19-inch across here.
Right. I have everything mounted and bolted to trays that slide in, so everything's Yeah, you could throw this thing across a parking lot and it won't get damaged.
Well, that's good. So that was I had to. Well, I'm looking at Ivan here again. I see the flag behind Ivan. He's a patriotic guy. I need to pull mine out and put it back here. Are you a veteran, Ivan?
No, negative. Just fly the colors.
Just fly the colors. Okay. All right. Well, very good. I mean, hey, that's all that counts, man. I was in the Air Force myself, and I would really like to start a segment on a show every now and then with just veterans. I've had a request to have a veteran segment on here, but I can't get anybody to interested in doing it right now. I can't do all segments myself because I have too much to do here. So, Michael, you said Titusville, I think, Florida? Titusville? Where's that?
Well, put it this way, when there's a launch, I walk out in my backyard, which is a golf course, and I watch the launches.
Okay. I know where you are. My son and daughter were down there, and they watched the shuttle many years ago when it took off and exploded. They were actually there watching.
Well, I'm about 10 air miles from the base.
Uh-huh. Well,
we get to, actually, when the shuttles returned, it would rattle the house like you would not believe when they broke the sound barrier coming down. I saw the roof move, I saw the ceilings move, and it was a noise you wouldn't believe. But it was always very interesting. The night flights are absolutely the best. I mean, out in the backyard when there's a night launch, especially of one of the Atlas rockets, it lights up like daylight.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Very, very interesting to see. I enjoy watching.
Well, when they were down there, it was because of the cold weather. The launch was delayed a number of times, and they actually went to the airport to head home, and then the launch happened while they were standing there at the airport. They were able to watch it from there. I don't know how far the airport is from there, but they had a good view of it.
From here, it's about a 40-minute drive. So again, you can see it because I mean it really lights the sky up. We had a launch a couple of nights ago, actually during the day, and it was the best daylight launch I've seen in a long time. No clouds, no nothing. The rocket went off on time, which was amazing. Went straight up. You could see the flames coming out the back. It was really interesting. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, and I saw where Scott Kelly, I think it was Scott, not Mark, but Scott, just went up, I think, yesterday or the day before for his 365-day stay in space. Now, we've got a friend.
Which chosen to be his brother that's staying on Earth, or him that's in space for a year because they're twins.
Yeah, right. And that's a good way to test to see to compare them, I think. But we'll have to ask our friend Doug. We've got a friend that's an astronaut that probably knows them. There's a shot of Doug there. He's going to be with us again in Dayton this year as our co-host on Friday. Doug was with us last year in Dayton, and we had a lot of fun with having Doug there and him signing autographs and helping us give away prizes, and it was pretty cool.
Well, we get the opportunity to go over to the Space Center and to meet a lot of the astronauts. It's very interesting. This area, I mean, we're about 25 miles from Orlando. So, I mean, everybody knows what's in Orlando. We're kind of out in the sticks, but that makes it nice because we've got interesting locations on all sides.
Yeah, well, hey, Michael, I'm real impressed that you came in to hang out tonight. I don't know, man. Out of 100 people that get in a chat room, only about one figures out how to get into this hangout deal. It's not that complicated, but it's different. And of course, you've got to have a Google Plus account to get in, and maybe some people use Google Plus a lot. I never was a user of Google Plus, so. I'm trying to learn the difference between a community and an event, and you know, all these things and how they interact with each other. But we've got it.
We'll never keep up. With
Oh
all.
yeah, and they keep inventing. They keep inventing new things too. On top of that, I hadn't even learned this one yet. Man, it's just moving just really fast.
Well, what I found that helped me get into this, I had to look up on the screen to see what it's called again. This Hangout was I had to ask a second time for the link, and once I asked for the link, all I did was then key in the link, because clicking on the link didn't do anything.
You mean in our chat room it didn't work? You couldn't click on it?
It didn't work when I clicked on it, but then when I keyed it in directly, it came up perfectly. So I think a little more experimentation and some feedback like I'm giving you right now will help the moderators that are providing this textual interaction. They'll be able to give some better directions, because once I keyed it in manually, you know, I came right in, so it wasn't an issue. So it was more of knowing how and trying it, but keying on the link.
Well, you know, different computers. Sometimes I've tried computers. I can click on a link, it works. Here in the studio, I tried clicking on it a while back. It wouldn't work. But then I found out I could turn my pop-up blocker off, and it would work when I click on it. So there's all kinds of things, I guess, that affect these links, you know.
They do. The one safe way for sure is to key it in yourself. Because nothing's going to block it then. And again, that's what I did. So that's why I said before I get on with the interview with the Go Box, I'm going to watch this, you know, another couple of times, so I'll be able to really understand it and not get into the issue that you had with one of your guests tonight with no audio, this wasn't working, that wasn't working. That can always happen, I understand.
Well, that was Glen. That was Glen right there. That was Glen right there, the guy on a white mustache right there. Well, you got a white mustache too, don't you? Well, you know, I used to have a mustache, but I shaved it off. Of course, I got white hair, so I guess I got to start referring to different people.
Notice the color of my hair.
I would say that's Glen there with the glasses on, but let's look. Let's see. You got glasses on, I've got glasses on, so I can't use that anymore. We all got white hair, so anyway, when we do the interview with you, it'll just be on Skype. None of this Hangout stuff is going to come in at that time, you know. So I originally planned on using Hangout here for our webcast and bring in 3 and 4 people at a time and let them all kind of interact and talk. But the problem I ran into was the same problem you saw tonight. People get on, they have noisy microphones, their wife is yelling at them, you know, they mute the mic, I'll mute the mic, and then they'll unmute it, and all kinds of trouble going on, and that doesn't make for a very good show. So we decided just to use Skype for, you know, the one-to-one interviews. And then, as you noticed, the Hangout is working very well tonight with the people, you know.
But I notice everybody is very patient. I see the video images of the other individuals that are there, but everybody's not trying to talk at once. Again, some of this kind of thing goes along with it. If there's rules, if there's a format, if there's reminders of noisy backgrounds, you know, it's all things that a number of people might not be used to. Like Russ, for example, you know, he's doing this kind of a thing, not video, but audio, so he's very familiar from an audio standpoint. But probably most of your guests aren't familiar, so a little additional knowledge up front would help them out.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see. Somebody else says he wants to join us here, so let me send a link out again, see if they can join us.
Well, while there's a break in the action, gentlemen, I'm going to jump out of here. So I hope you all have a good evening.
All right. So it can't be that late, Russ. I mean, you know.
Oh, it's not that late, but, you know, I do have other things.
You do have other life, different, other things to do in life, right? Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, Tom. It was fun, and I hope I get to do it again sometime.
All right, great. And we will. And, hey, let your listeners out there. No, he's gone. Okay. Well,
Tom, just a suggestion. Just a suggestion. Maybe if you did some of this before the show, you could verify the connections that your guests have, that everything works, that they're familiar with keeping the noise down and doing this and doing that and having a light on, etc. Because like right now, I know I'm not well lit, but when I'm going to be on for the interview, I'll bring in the appropriate lights. But if you do some of this stuff before the show and you have this hangout a little bit before the show, maybe before the show and after the show, especially for your guests.
You know, that's a good idea. We could start this hangout on maybe an hour before the show starts.
That's
And let
right.
people just kind of get together in a round table and talk, and then when the show starts, we all go over to the show.
And you get all the bugs out ahead of time, you know.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Right, the level that isn't right, the this, the that, you know, all of those things, especially lighting and audio. Two very important things. But if you did that ahead of time, I think it would be
that's a great suggestion. I see Russ came back. What happened, Russ?
Yeah, well, I accidentally hit the button, and I think you were in the middle of saying something, so I didn't want to leave without you being able to
that was really nice of you. I was just going to say, hey, tell your listeners out there to tune in our webcast on Tuesday nights, and we'll try to do the same thing for your podcast.
Yeah, I did that. I recorded last night, and that will be, of course, released next Monday, so that will be out there, and hopefully our guests will come over and be your guests.
Russ, before you go, explain your headband.
Explain it?
Yes, I see 3 letters. Or what?
No, it's the Orange County chopper symbol.
Oh, I thought I recognized it. Fantastic.
I was riding my motorcycle today. It was a beautiful day for being out on the motorcycle, so I'm still dressed for being out on the bike.
I've got my full head cover Orange County chopper pullover hat, and I've actually been to Orange County choppers.
I'm not a big fan of New York, so I don't go there very much.
Thanks.
All right. Have a good night.
Take it easy, Russ.
All right.
That was a good show, Orange County choppers.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about Hangout here. That's the thing about the Hangout. I wanted people to know this is a very informal. Get on, say hello, listen if you want to, show your face, be a part of the webcast. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted people to be part of the show.
Well, I can, if I had to make a guess, my guess would be that most people can't figure out how to get on this, or they would be on it.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple actually. If you really look at the basic part, you got to have a Google Plus account, you got to have a camera, and you click on the link, and that gets you there, man.
Well, everybody almost with a current computer has a camera.
Yeah.
The link, if you key the link in, you send it out enough, that is not an issue. And when you go to Google, it always asks you, do you want to sign up for a Plus account?
All right.
So again, the steps of doing it would be very important if you distributed those. Here's the steps that you need to do to get on, and let people know ahead of time. Send it out during the week ahead of time, because people would love to get on something like this. When you said it's limited to 10, I thought to myself, I'll probably have to wait an hour before I can get on.
Yeah.
And I can see I didn't. And with the number of people that were watching the show tonight and logged in, there should have been a ton more. So it was an issue of we don't know how.
Yep. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's a lot of that. I use it all the time, so it was no big thing for me.
Yeah, it's easy once you know how to do it and that. But it's you got to get people past that first time. One of the things that before I retired, I was in a research facility, and we had many times we would bring in potential customers, sit them down, and work with them to try to write appropriate directions to accomplish something in their language. Because without that, no matter how simple you or I might think something is, it's not to somebody else the first time through.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But Now, when I'm talking, you're seeing me full screen, even though I'm seeing you full screen. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, I'm just hanging around trying to figure out why my Skype wouldn't work.